Welcome to Bitstorm, a comedy game design podcast by two guys who know nothing about comedy nor game design. I'm Ben Slinger, and with me, as always, is Trevor, the meditator, Scott.
Yes, I am meditating right now. You see my hands in that typical
typical, if dare I say stereotypical. Yep, it's typical in both ears.
Nah.
I just decided that's a new bit. I'm going to give you a new nickname each week.
Stereotypical, I just got it. Well done.
I think we're going to jump into some click pitch. This is a game where we each have a random word generator in front of us, and on the count of 3, 2, 1, click. We're going to press refresh. We're going to get a new word. We're going to bounce them off each other like a game of wall tennis.
Yes.
Is that a thing?
Like a game of wall tennis. Exactly.
Yeah. And once we've both hit them around a bit, a game will appear magically on the wall.
Yes.
Yeah. It's improv, guys. We're just going to riff on it.
Yeah. 3, 2, 1, refresh.
Kilobyte.
Ditch.
Ditch?
Ditch. D-I-T-C-H.
Okay.
I do like kilobyte because that's giving me kind of like what's a digital ditch?
Well, I do like kilobyte, but also as I was saying it, I realized it sounds like kilobyte. And I wonder if it's like some sort of like murderous machine called kilobyte.
Yeah. Old technology because we don't really talk in kilobytes anymore. So I think, maybe 80s or 90s.
Yeah. This is exactly when Bill Gates said we would never need more than 640 kilobytes.
Yes, of memory, because it's conventional memory.
Yep. And this machine took a fence.
Yes.
At that, and thought
took
Bill
a fence,
Gates was saying
he stole like a
paling fence, or it took a paling fence, turned it into an impaling fence when killed Bill Gates, and now we're in an alternate history where Microsoft ended
right there, at MS-DOS 3.2 or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Didn't get to those weird ads starring Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah, and the unfortunately recently passed Matthew Perry in the Windows 95. R.I.P. But look, in this alternate universe, maybe he's still alive. Maybe it's Jennifer Aniston who died in the computer apocalypse. I'm not wishing death. I'm just saying it's possible. So what would an alternate history look like without Microsoft is apparently the premise here now.
Okay.
That we've gotten to.
Okay, I do like that.
Is this where, Apple Macintosh became more popular early on, or did a third sort of home PC contender?
I think Linux just came up and became like the operating system of choice, or is it even better to say it was OS2 Warp? Yeah,
it could be. It could be. My dad still probably has a box of OS2 Warp operating system on his shelf.
Your dad and all his weird decisions to pick up the weird and wacky stuff in the computer world.
Yeah, I'm surprised he doesn't have like a Betamax player and a fucking HD DVD
and a Laserdisc. Or does he have one of those?
No, he doesn't. No, he's not really been media as much as just computery software bits. But enough about my dad.
So your dad becomes
my
like the
dad
leader
is the new Bill Gates. Yeah,
he came up with a new OS. Like when OS2 Warp, OS 3 basically. Yeah. OS 3, or it was a new Linux kernel that just took off.
Yes, okay. But I think whatever did take off was clearly then developed by the machines themselves. It's some sort of artificial intelligence then. They killed Bill Gates, due to the offence at the 640k RAM remark, and then diligently went away.
Yeah.
And they disappeared for a few years. Like,
yes.
People thought it was an isolated incident, and then suddenly OS 3.
Suddenly one day, in a ditch, you see what looks to be like a discarded husk of like an older PC unit, and it's like it's just the discarded casings, and you start thinking, oh, what this is weird, and it's not contained to this one ditch. Like it's you look out like, and there's like a whole field of these discarded husks.
Oh, as you look beyond the ditch into the field. Okay. And then do you like go and pop the floppy out of the drive and see the disc?
OS 3 warp, or whatever the next thing. OS 3 X-ray.
OS 3 WX, yeah. Disc 1 of 63.
Exactly. No, disc 1 of 69. Come on.
Well, no, 63 is the sex number for computers.
Okay.
That's why. Yeah.
I forgot. 6s and 3s are because they're divisible by
just
each other.
The way they... Exactly. Yeah, it's more... Exactly. It's the... Yeah. So does this game then open up on the sort of cutscene or at least maybe interactive cutscene of you seeing this computer in the ditch, seeing the field, going up, getting this floppy, and then it like cuts to black because with an ominous dun dun, like a very Lost style thing. No, not a Law and Order.
Law and Order.
I mean, it could be.
The found.
OS 3 X-ray. And then who do you play in the actual game then?
You play Simon Gates, the son of Bill.
Ooh, okay.
So I'm thinking it's kind of like a Castlevania Simon Belmont / Simon Gates. Like you just play... another so person in the Gates family.
After all that, is it... Oh, so you don't mean it's literally like a side-scroller, or is it...
fuck it, yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
It's a fucking side-scroller. Just because that just now makes it even funnier.
Yeah. You've got this whole ominous, like, pre-rendered, super detailed intro, and then it cuts you into a 2D... Yeah, it's just the screen with fangs on it.
It's literally just digital Dracula. And you're going through his castle, and it's all like... Remember the game Superplex? It's... Superplex.
Oh my god, the name rings a bell, but I can't remember what it
basically
was
Boulder
like.
Dash, but it was like a Pac-Man-y like character going through... If you remember what Boulder Dash was, like...
Yeah.
So Superplex was like a
similar one.
PC version of that was kind of all digital sort of stuff. I think you've got kind of those sort of pixely graphics with like circuit boards and shit in the background.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, this reminds me of like the original Duke Nukem or something.
Yeah, but it was more of a puzzle game where
I know. I just meant the style, particularly the like floppy disks and stuff. Did you collect floppy disks in Duke Nukem or something like that?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
God, I'm remembering all the old side scrollers now, and they're all PC, and they were all really bad. And there was something about the PC like side scrollers. They weren't the same as like a Nintendo or a Sega. Like,
no. I mean, just the fact that you're playing them with a mouse and keyboard, I think, made a big difference. And then...
most of the time it wasn't a mouse and keyboard. Most of the time it was keyboard and keyboard.
Sorry, that's what I meant. Yeah, just playing it with a keyboard. No, not a mouse. Which had its own weird thing to it.
And then you buy a joystick that goes into your sound card, plugs in at the back, the joystick port, and I remember having my first digital joystick that was sort of almost like a NES sort of thing, but it was more. I think I actually had one just with 3 buttons, so it was more like a Mega Drive sort of thing. But I was like, those buttons were never mapped properly, and most of the time,
oh no, well, because they didn't build games around that.
No,
really. If any joystick, they would build it around the flight stick style one, which was much more common. Anyway, we've tangented.
I think the final boss.
Oh, we're going to keep it going. Okay, go on.
Final boss. The way that you defeat it is you have to actually hack in and just fuck up the config.sys and auto accept. You've got to reduce that conventional memory all the way down by getting rid of all those load highs and all that sort of stuff. And
but you do it via a centipede style, or like a Space Invaders style thing where you're shooting the characters specifically from the bottom. Yeah,
because
totally.
It is literally like it's the quintessential 80s and 90s kid knew that you don't fuck with those things unless you know what you're doing. Because
if you're a PC gamer, Yep, for sure. We're definitely showing our age here, but, that's fine. That's who we are.
What, we're hip 40-year-olds?
Oh, yeah, totally.
43. You're 42, so I'm an old bastard with grey hair.
Yeah, but hey, we're young at heart. 3 to 1.
3 to 1.
Click. This is what I went to school in. I'm so old. A stagecoach.
Theatre.
Oh, stagecoach and theatre. Okay.
What's a stagecoach?
Very kind of old-timey.
I'm thinking it's a travelling theatre.
Yeah. I like a puppet theatre. I feel like a puppet theatre in a stagecoach.
Yes. Ooh. That evokes like old-timey sort of feel.
Yeah, it almost feels like...
Now, is it marionette sort of puppets? Or is
I was going to say either puppet theatre or maybe like shadow theatre. Because I feel like you could do some fun stuff with moving things further or closer away to change the sizes of them. And I'm thinking one of the mechanics is about like... If you've like attached a thing to the ceiling to make like a bird or whatever... When you go over bumps, it like moves up and down.
Yeah, I know. I'm getting when you said shadow and moving closer and further away and all that sort of stuff. I started thinking, what would like a Limbo Inside-esque game that
was actually shadow theatre.
That was actually all shadow theatre, and the powers of the game is that your character can move further away or closer to the light and closer to the screen and change in size in that respect.
But as you move further away from the screen, you get blurrier.
Exactly.
Like you get,
less definition.
Yeah.
I know. I kind of like the idea of just rolling shadows and all this sort of stuff, and all the enemies are... You can see like the stick underneath it, and as it sort of comes in.
Yeah. But I think we still set it on a stagecoach. I think it's sort of framed. Like you've got most of the playing area, but you can maybe even look to the sides sometimes and see the scenery rolling by as this. But the main game is played out on the shadow screen.
Yeah.
And then maybe you bring in like almost fourth wall breaking elements, as in breaking the fourth wall of the shadow theatre. Where things from the real world, the stagecoach world, affected in some way.
Yeah, like when it starts raining,
so like
you got to actually protect you got to protect the candle. Like
yeah. That's cool.
I like the idea of that you see the candle on the screen and you got to kind of hold the umbrella above it and it somehow just protects it.
But yeah, or like I said, like going over a bridge. It would be part of the scene that you're up to, obviously. Like, you get to that point in the shadow game, and it's like, oh, now the stagecoach is going over a bridge, or like a cobblestone area or something, so you get these regular bumps that affect the elements on the stage.
Yeah.
And you have to, like, time it between the bumps or something, and that sort of thing. You get those sorts of fun things.
Yeah, I definitely see this as kind of like a very limited... inside-y, limbo-y sort of game.
Yes.
In the fact that it's just...
I think it could almost even be a puzzle game in a sense of like not scrolling in that way necessarily. Or like, I mean, I think it'd be distinct scenes, obviously, that you have to solve.
But there are like set pieces when you get to the next town, and it's like, it just so happens that, you know, while you're moving, it's one of those stages which, you know, it's an auto scroller that it just auto scrolls, and you've got to keep up with it, and you know, you're sort of making your shadow character go over all the different sections, and
yeah, I mean, that's true. It could just be fairly traditional platforming in that sense. How would the moving further away and coming closer work?
I think that's sort of more the puzzly sort of things. Like if you do it normally, you know, your character kind of becomes very big, but has a chance of, you know, it can only be away from the screen for so long before it starts like not disintegrating as such, but maybe it gets too close to the flame.
Too close. Like, catches on fire. Gets hot. Yeah, I mean, it could be a puzzle solving thing where maybe when you're in that stage, when you're in that phase of larger and less corporeal, that you can't like pick things up, or but because you're taller, you can like jump and hit a button, or whatever that. Yeah. Something like that.
And at the start, it's like you don't really have much control. It's either you're fully close to the screen, or you're fully all the way back as far as you can go, and you can only be so far back for a limited amount of time. Maybe there's some, like, you know,
the edges,
a vignette sort of thing as it comes in. But then, you know, as you go, you get that more fine control, so you can. Get those extra couple of spaces in between where you can get a little bit bigger and
get through an area that you otherwise, that's cool.
I really like that. That's kind of a fun game.
I mean, I always love a 2D-ish world or a fixed world with a framing device.
Exactly.
That's more detailed. That's just always a fun.
Which is I think thing. Why we are gravitating towards the Plucky Squire. Because it's such a cool idea, and it looks amazing.
Yeah.
Check out the Plucky Squire. Like, we don't have anything to do with it, but fuck, we wish we did.
No, it looks great. Coming out soon, I think.
Next year, sometime. I can't wait.
It's nearly next year.
I know. That'll be the year after.
3, 2, 1. Click.
Childhood.
Dispenser.
Childhood dispenser. Ooh. So, this is going to take all of 2 seconds to really explain.
Okay.
But if you remember the first Dead Rising game,
yes.
At any time throughout the game, you could choose to restart your progress.
Yes.
And you would keep the level that you're already at, and move back. And start from the beginning of the game. And you know, keep the things that you've already unlocked and all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
What if it was that, but life experience? So at any time you can restart over from childhood, but you now have extra...
The knowledge, the skills.
The knowledge that you now know, and it's sort of like... You play through these different sections of childhood, like... just, you know, the big events, and it can be slightly branching in the fact that like if you happen to become like the valedictorian, you get to go down this other path of this. So there's a couple of things that are always going to happen, and big events that are always going to happen, but there's a couple of small scenes in between that if you happen to work out how to get into there, you can.
I think this could be done well as a mixture of some procedural stuff and but mostly I think scripted scenes in that way, where I very much like that idea of you play through these scenes, stuff just plays out, you've got like dialogue choices, you've got, you know, the ability to interact with certain things in the environment. First time round, you don't get much, you don't have much. It's like your 4th birthday or something, and you're a child. You don't have much you can do. You can knock some shit over. You can play with someone. You can cry. And then it jumps to Now it's like your primary school graduation or something, and then it jumps to your, getting drunk at a party or whatever, right? Like you're going through these different things. Maybe they're somewhat randomized, or at least you get different ones depending on which run through you don't necessarily get the exact same ones every time.
Because if you do something slightly different, you may not go down that path anymore. Well,
yeah, there is that, of course, yes. I obviously cognizant of that. We're obviously not building this, but if we were, the combinatorial explosion that can come from just providing branches at every point. But yes, I like that idea of there being these kind of different paths, and I think you don't know. I mean, and obviously we do this a lot where you try to hide something from the player. They're going to know what it is coming into the game because of the nature of video games these days. But you make a decision in one of them and you die.
Mm.
And then you get a you have died, restart, except it's it's like from the point of view of I'm picturing this more as a third person thing, but like maybe they see that in the world in front of them. Like it's not a UI for the player, it's a UI for the character.
Yeah, so I think the character stands still as the body falls forwards, and it's like this is their soul, and it's like, do you like that didn't seem to go too
New
well?
Game Plus.
Would you like a do-over? Start from here. It's like
from last checkpoint.
Your last checkpoint was at 4 years old.
Your progress has been saved.
And you start again.
For sure.
You understand now. Okay, if I go down that path, I'm going to die of a drug overdose at some stage. Like so,
but I think now, like even in that 4-year-old one, now you've got more interaction choices come up.
Yeah.
If you practice the piano in some of the previous ones, then you can go up to the piano and play the piano, and you get a little scene of people going, what the hell, why can this 4-year-old play the piano?
Yeah. And it's like that now opens up the potential to go to Juilliard, like because this is in the United States, so you're now a prodigy, and like you end up there and you get crushed by a piano because it turns out that on the way to Juilliard, like your character is just gonna get crushed by a piano if you go to Juilliard. You now know that. Like, I don't know. I kind of like the idea of just being able to play around with that sort of thing, that your character learns and has access to things that they already have done, and sometimes they're like, oh, you know what, it's not so good. But I think as you die and like you actually have like a guardian angel who goes, this is weird, like your checkpoint should have been saved earlier, like at a later stage than this. You keep on going back way too far.
Right.
Like
your save file's corrupted.
Yeah. So they're trying to do some, like, it's like, just go through another run. We'll try to fix it in the meantime, and hopefully you'll like.
So basically, it's life the roguelike.
Yeah. And just the idea of, this guardian angel who's trying to help you out by, when you die on the freeway and you're 5 years old, it's like, oh, you really weren't supposed to die here. Like, we're going to have to send you back. Like, obviously, we'll get through this somehow. But, I don't know.
Yeah,
you can play around quite a lot, and have different tech support people each time that you die. Like, they're checking in and sort of like kicking the body and going, oh, something's not quite right here.
All right, turn it off and on again and do another run.
This time, can you just try one thing for me? Always select the second option.
Yeah. And then you go through a whole run where you have to select the second dialogue option every time.
It's the only thing that's actually turned on for that particular run. Like, I know that could be actually kind of a fun little thing. Like,
yeah, I'm almost feeling like with those sort of developments that this would work better as like almost just a straight point and click adventure game without the system based, without the procedural based stuff, because that adds a lot of complexity. That it is more just, okay, we've got these set 10 scenes or something, 10 moments, 10 vignettes, but they change every time because of the previous run-throughs. And then, these in-between bits with this angelic tech support. Trying to figure out what's going on with your soul.
They've got like in one of them, they've got this guy with like the plumber's crack, sort of just kneeling down over the body, just poking and prodding. He's like, I'm not sure exactly what's wrong here. Like, got the backwards cap and sort of the tool belt around.
Yeah. And then your guardian angel comes and says, "What the hell? You don't even work here. Get out of here." Just a random passerby.
Oh, God.
I love that, actually. You could even, that's just a great concept. You could just about bring the number of scenes even way down and just, like, if you wanted to lower the scope of that to build it, I reckon you could do 2 or 3 scenes even. Obviously, it'd be somewhat better with more, but if you've got a few moments in it, like a few little things that play out in every scene, then then it's in the writing how they're different based on your prior knowledge and skills and different things.
It could also work in like a roguelike sort of thing, that every time that you die, you get another little vignette of like, oh God, that doesn't sound right. I'm going to send you back to the start of this level. I think this time do this, and and we'll see if we can fix this for you. And so
I like it as a framing device in general. You could definitely do it in a more traditional roguelike, but then I think the gameplay itself would need to be something a bit more also traditional in that sense of more combat based or something, because I feel like if you're doing it so kind of conversation and story based, like, it just adds too many options. But I love that idea even in a roguelike of, like, oh, you died again. Like, that's not meant to happen. Okay, I'm going to give you this skill. We're going to unlock this for you. Just let me get into the debug here and unlock it for you. Okay, try it again. And like and that's your unlock mechanism almost. Like, that's your mechanism of giving you more resources and giving you more things on subsequent runs.
And if you happen to get all the way through it, and then you get to the very end, the guardian angel goes, "That's much better. Let's see how you go in the next one."
Let's see if you can do it faster.
Like,
now I'm invested.
In that second room, can you not kill anyone? Like,
that's it. And then you've got like little challenges like that get you bonuses and different things. Like, that's a cool framing device. Even if the guardian angel's popping up, it's like, oh, you reached the second level of the dungeon. It's like, hey, I had a thought. Try, not getting hit this whole level, and we'll see how that goes at the end. And, you do that, and
to
it's
give
like,
you incentive,
that worked, actually.
If you do get hit, you instantly die.
Yeah.
Like, it's just fucking with you. You get to the end, it's like, okay, yeah, you kind of screwed that up, didn't you? How about you go back?
But again, I love that in a roguelike, and maybe even not just one like, I love the idea of hitting a level in a roguelike dungeon crawler and these 2 little fucking heads pop up and just start, like, jabbering away at you about, but doing that sort of thing, giving you challenges, giving you tips, unlocking things for you.
Yeah. Unlocking things that you really shouldn't have access to. Like, it's like, this is true debug level shit, and it's like...
Yeah, but that's it. If the setting of it then is semi-mundane, but you're getting all these powers as you go through because it's just this angel trying to debug your life or whatever. Even if it's in a combat RPG, a combat roguelike.
Okay,
that's cool.
So we realised that there's no keys in this level. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to turn on no clip for you, but just beware if you do happen to go through walls and not like doors, I will have to kill you.
You will take damage.
You will take a lot of damage, like a lot. But it's how you get through. It's how you can pass through the other doors, because unfortunately, I misplaced my keys, and I just didn't have any to put in the level for you.
Yeah.
So
I love that.
You've got the idea. You can literally no clip through everything, but you just got to be careful, because every second that you spend in there, you're going to get hurt.
Yeah. That's really cool. I'm actually now picturing it as like as a first person roguelike shooter.
Yeah.
Like, you know, those ones where first person shooter roguelikes. Because I can see that working.
Yeah.
With the little fucking angel popping out. That's cool.
So we gave you unlimited ammo. We think that might help. But the problem is, it means that all the enemies also have unlimited ammo.
Yeah, we could. Unfortunately, because
turns out that unlimited ammo for all. So
it's just a boolean in the system, and it applies
ammo, yes,
generically to all ammo entities. So
we tried and it kind of sucked. It was all melee weapons.
We'll try that on a different run. Maybe that's the solution.
By the way, don't kill anyone on the second level again, because one of them's Kevin, and I don't know which one. And Kevin is critical for...
Kevin has gone in and possessed one of the enemies in that level just as part of the debug process, but he's just stuck. So you can't kill anyone in that level just in case it's Kevin.
Just in case it's Kevin, because if you kill Kevin...
he's our lead programmer.
By the way, Kevin is God.
Just a little nickname we have for him around the office.
There's just something about, like,
I love that angelic tech support.
Bullshit. Like,
yeah, and different levels, like checking in and stuff. It's like, you know, I'm gonna have to actually pass you on to my supervisor.
But you could also play around with, kind of like a what's his name? Who did Pony Island? Daniel Mullins. Kind of like a Daniel Mullins of, that's the first part of the game. You know, it's playing through this sort of thing, and then it can sort of change
when you
a little
actually
bit.
Finish it, when you actually get through it, it's a completely different game.
Yeah.
Now it's a point and click adventure, and you're in like at the angelic tech support office.
Yeah. Or you gotta take someone else through this, like as in.
Oh, now you're doing the tech support.
You're doing a tech support for an AI player, trying to help them get through.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, let's go a little bit longer.
That's cool. Yeah, I love that. I love putting. I think you got a little bit of point and click in there just because I love the idea of it, and we talked about that in the beginning anyway. But then, you sit down at a desk and you're seeing what you were seeing. But on a screen now, and you've got all these debug commands and stuff that you can start applying.
Yeah, and you're applying it to an AI player, and you're like,
yes.
Well, they're making it through this level quite easily, but you know, you see some things happening in later levels. So how do you keep, you know, your player away from stuff going on behind the scenes?
Yeah, that'd be really interesting then to try to balance that, because obviously, you know, if you've got all these debug commands, you could just make them all powerful, and you know, there has to be that balance to it. But that if you're seeing the same sort of balancing act that you were getting while playing through it for the first time, of like, you switch ammo to unlimited, and then everyone has unlimited ammo. You turn, you know, gravity down. But it affects like the lava in the level, so there's like globules of lava around that they have to dodge or something, and their dexterity isn't high enough.
I mean, if you could actually come up with a reason as to why these things need to actually be selected at a certain time, and it's stuff going on behind the scenes that like has nothing to do with the game, it's actually all about helping, you know, something else. Like another one of your angels, like cleaning up some shit in the background, and they really need these things, and it's really not about the player at all. It's
or it's that you're like managing 3 players at once, but anything you change affects all of them,
3
and they're
at
at
once,
different points in it. So you can't, like, something you do for help one of them might hurt one of the others.
Yeah. Okay. This is one of the weirdest and most fucked up games that we've ever come up with, but it's so freaking good, and this is going to be one of the games that I think about. Like, yes,
this is going to be one of the games that I dream of making until I realize that I do not have the time or
the skills.
yeah, but at this point,
just the fact that we can do a Daniel Mullins-esque, you know, change.
I mean, I love that. I love the idea of a frog fractions or like a fucking inscription or whatever. or a Pony Island. The gameplay just completely changes without you expecting it, and just changes the perspective on the whole game.
Especially when it goes from that first person view to a first person view of a top down view sort of thing, like where you're seeing the three people on the map at the same time. And
you still see the first person view that they have, but that's in one window, and then you've got the top down map view of them. You've got your debug commands, you've got your code stability or something that you have to manage to the system stability or something. You can't turn on too many things because it will cause weird things to happen and glitches and stuff.
I love the idea that it's like one of the characters that you're helping through is Kevin. It's
he's stuck in it. He's still stuck in it.
Oh, he's stuck in it, and then the whole thing is, oh no, all these powers are actually just to help Kevin,
right?
But it happens to be that you got to give it to these other two people as well. So it's like you got to almost make it hard and make sure that they're going to die, so that you can give the next command to.
Right.
You can give the next command to Kevin so he can get through this level himself.
That's really funny.
Cool.
That's cool. I love that. I love when we hit a good game right at the end and go over.
Yeah, me too.
That's fun. I want to make that. Okay. If you would like to find us online, go to podchaser.com/bitstorm. All of our previous episodes are there. Shoot us a review. Let us know if we should have done another 15 minutes on that game.
Probably not.
We could have.
If you like the song that we play at the start and end of each episode, that song is called Mount Defiance, and it's off the album Containment Failure. It can be found on Bandcamp, although I'm not sure for how long, given that Epic sold it off, and it's kind of been, going a bit weird. So, Ben, you'll have to look into seeing whether we need to move Containment Failure to something else.
S3. It's just going to be a link to a zip file.
Along with the other stuff from Kuradust, which there's a few things there.
If you want to find that album online, go to
amazonaws.s3. A3Q3.
That's right. So thank you again for joining us this week on Bitstorm. I'm Ben Slinger.
I'm Trevor Scott. And so we're going to need you to just stop the podcast now. If you listen to the end song this time, you're probably gonna die instantly, so just stop it before it gets